talk, but he not on the schedule. I ain't taking no from my boy heavy. I'm the best, and you heard what I said. Spend all the money, I'm dripping, it's falling. Got on it, then it's dripping like water. Teaching, but I don't have a daughter. I know me, I can pick up when I call her. Working big, and it don't hurt the break, cause I'ma always do it how I wanna do it. Every time he lead a know it, Mr. Know I got him running to it. I'ma need to full of milk before we talk it that I'm waking up and thumbing through it. Run a like a runner do it. Stun on her till like a stunner do it. I'm the best, I'm the best, and you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, and I go, and I go. If I touch it, then it's cold, then it's cold. I'm the best, and you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, and I go, and I go. If I touch it, then it's cold, then it's cold. Top dog like I manage. I'm the really damaged. I came out and make the channel froze. I'm really who the panel chose. Put my name up like a banner boat. Acting tough and I'ma let her go. Name up who got a better flow, but she can hang it up just like a telephone. Sticking up with the cost 10K to let it come see it. Hands at me, I make it come treat it. Spin, make it come beat it. I want the new in the machine out. Jewelry be caught like the temperature zero. I'm the hardest, they call me the hero. Heavily, then they know what I be on. I'm the best, I'm the best, and you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, and I go, and I go. If I touch it, then it's cold, then it's cold. I'm the best, and you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, and I go, and I go. If I touch it, then it's cold, then it's cold.
My God, oh God, this is Son of God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the high, always on a high level. So open up your eyes better. Why these tell me? You can join the journey, you is worthy. Just allow me, no. Kicking down your door. Bloodsuckers, I see this industry is filled with sheep. People that pretend to be something that they will never be. Oh my, I just need some little old peace of mind. The sons of kings, the ghouls, the gods. The moon, the light, the fools, the facts. My God, oh God, this is Son of God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the high, always on a high level. So open up your eyes, baby. I can never be controlled. Let them know. 500 helicopters driving me gonzo. But they want you just to envy. Let them see it. I'm the first to say it, now it's time you just believe it. I got too many fakes, made lots of foes. These people cold. Talk down your dreams because they know.
It's week 14 of the 2022 season. Up next, we'll get a look at Patrick Mahomes. He's been sensational as he leads the league in touchdown passes. It's the Chiefs and the Broncos on Sunday night.
Thank you. On a cold night at the foot of the Rockies, EA Sports coverage of the NFL takes us to Empower Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. Tonight, we've got a great Sunday night matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos.
Unmute. There we go.
Hello, everyone. Alongside my partner, Charles Davis.
Did that get me?
And Charles, this is a contest truly.
Did that get me? There we go.
Calling it a showdown. We have the league's #1 passing game.
All right, now we have audio. Sorry about that, guys.
Defense. Time to decide which of the league's best is truly supreme.
All right, so as I was saying, promised you all this earlier on Twitter since we had to reschedule Breaking Broncos with Dylan. So here is your Madden simulation for the Broncos versus the Chiefs coming up this weekend. These are legit rosters. I have not done anything other than just start the season, and I had to unfortunately force myself to lose 3 games Because it only let me go to week 10. So that was quite painful to have to go back and force those 3 losses. It was really hard to not just go in. And what I'm doing, I'm just setting up the simulation so you see that I am not controlling this in any way. This is a pure and utter simulation. I am just here for live commentary and am open for chat as we go. But there's a good start for the Broncos. Connection to Cortland Sutton that unfortunately probably will not play in this game. But again, I am just doing... I should probably move him down.
10 yards.
Just to be fair, he is essentially already been ruled out for this week. So let me go ahead and move Cortland Sutton. Man, there's not really anybody else to move in. Oh, I guess there's Jalen Virgil down there. That'll work. I'm not going to put him at starter, obviously. KJ Hamler's down. This is the sad state of the Broncos here. Alright, let's see. Who else do I have on this? There's nobody else. Alright, so we're just going to leave you. You probably won't get in when he's already down that low on the depth chart. So, Judy, Virgil, Hinton, Washington, Cleveland. These aren't exactly the wide receivers, but they're the same, I guess, level of talent as the current group of wide receivers for the Broncos. Alright, now let's reset the simulation. There we go. It's more fair. But I know every other, I forgot to do that one. That's the one roster move I forgot to make just to be sure that it was as fair as possible and as close to the real thing as possible. But yes, there you go. There's a first down. Nice start for the Broncos here in the simulation. That's more like what we will probably see. There's a pick six. McDuffie, the rookie, first round pick. That's realistic. Yeah, I could say that's realistic. Russell Wilson running for his life away from Chris Jones, chucking it up to a spot, and Trent McDuffie or anybody else in the Chiefs secondary taking it back. That's definitely what we expect to see. So, we got off to a realistic start. How about that? Not a fun start for Broncos fans, but a realistic one. I really don't look forward to this weekend, and my friend James Howe, I'm positive, is going to have something to say. Oh, man. We had such high hopes coming into this season. I was one of them. I'm not going to sit here in front and be like, oh, no, I knew this season was going to be crap from the beginning. No. I picked the Broncos to win the division by a tiebreaker. I wasn't saying they were going to go out there and just mollywop the Chiefs and win the division by 5 games, but just the way that I broke down the schedule, that's what I expected. Well, there the Broncos are back out there, 1st and 10.
As all these teams fight for a better position. And you pointed it out so accurately there, Brandon. After this game, 4 weeks left in the regular season. And
it's like Chase Edmonds over the right side.
But for some teams, trying to fight to make it to the playoffs, they're actually in the playoffs.
Oh, shoot. You know what? Actually, sorry, guys. That's, y'all just heard it right there. That's another one I forgot to do. I need to get rid of Melvin Gordon. Again, make it fair, make it realistic. I apologize, I rushed myself a little bit. Here, while I'm in here, I'll just be sure. There we go. And we'll just run through here real quick, just to be sure. Yep, Cam Fleming, Dalton Reisner, Christian Berry, Quinn Miners, Billy Turner, Jones, DJ Jones. Oh. Yes, he is. Linebacker. Alright, enough. Alright, good. There we go. Alright, now we're certain and good to go. Now we can go ahead and let this simulation finally play. Sorry about that, guys.
Now a run straight ahead with Edmonds. And they'll get to him after a gain of 7 to the 47.
All right.
So they'll come up after the gain of 7 on a 2nd and 3.
Gain 7 there.
They'll throw it with Wilson.
Oh. Nice connection to Murray for another first down. See if they're able to sustain the drive. Something they have not done. This is definitely more time than we expect Russell Wilson to have in real life. But again, this is only the second drive for the Broncos after that pick 6 on the first one. But they are in Chiefs territory already. I do see the Broncos giving up some fight. Like, this Broncos team, for all that they've been thrown, for all the craziness that's happened, all the injuries, all of those things, they don't quit. They just don't quit. You've seen it week in, week out. No matter how dire the situation, no matter how dire the circumstances, there's always some fight in the team. So, as much as people are expecting the Chiefs to go out here and win it 45-0, I really don't think it's going to be that big of a blowout. And there's another one of those, yeah.
And that's going to be a first down. Well done.
He was just able to get that off. That's going to be what it's going to be like. It's going to have to be quick throws. It's going to be Russell Wilson's going to have to be decisive. There is no sitting back and letting double moves develop or anything of that nature. It is another reason why I tell people you got to take what's going on with a grain of salt. If you don't have time in the pocket, you can't run these fancy plays that everybody wants to see. You can't do these things that everybody wants to see on offense when you don't have time to let the plays develop. And so, running a very basic offense is about the only option the Broncos have at this point, simply because they don't have time to run all the fancy stuff. This is something you would love to see Saturday. See the Broncos commit to the run and be successful. This offensive line is very, very bad at pass blocking. They're not great at run blocking, but they're definitely better at run blocking. Run the ball. I love the fact that they ran it 30 times against the Baltimore Ravens. But another thing is yes, you want to commit to the run, but you can't just commit to the run. You gotta mix it up. You can't just run on 1st and 2nd down. This is something that we talked about all last year with the Broncos, as they just scored a touchdown with Latavius Murray up the middle to tie the ball game up here. Looking good so far in the Madden Sim. McManus booting it, and that's very accurate. Madden's definitely upgraded and updated his stats. Well, I should say upgraded. Updated his stats to downgrade them to the reality. He did not make that into the end zone, and that's Ben McManus. He does not have the leg he used to. Unfortunately, it's looking like the last vestige of that Super Bowl 50 squad for the Broncos is going to be gone after the end of this season. You obviously don't. He hasn't been bad enough to make an in-season move, but I don't see how you justify him being paid as one of the highest paid kickers in the game anymore. That's been the bugaboo for the Broncos defense this year. They've been great for the most part, but run defense and closing out games like they did not do against Tyler Huntley and the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. I'm still amazed at how people thought I was just so much of a jerk and full of poppycock, as Andrew Mason of 104.3 would have said about people like me saying that the defense lost the game yet again, which is, I think, justified. And Justin Simmons even said it today. He said that the defense has played great, but it's got to play better in the 2-minute drills. It's got to do better against hurry-up offenses, and better against the run. Those are the 3 weaknesses of this defense. If they don't fix those, then it's not going to matter what happens offensively. The multiple times this year, 7 out of their 9 losses, the defense has been handed a lead with 5 minutes or less remaining in the 4th quarter, and 7 out of 9 times they've lost. Watch this. 7 out of their 9 losses, they've given the defense a lead with 5 minutes or left in the 4th quarter, and the defense failed. So as much as people want to talk about the offense, and yes, they have been horrible, but they have done enough to win games if the defense just finished. The defense has always started great. It's ran through the game great. It's just when the crunch time comes and it's down to the defense to make a play outside of the 49ers game, it hasn't done it.
And what a nice example there of a tight end doing exactly what he needs to do. How about how he worked his way to the outside, made sure he secured the catch, and then anything after that, we count that as a bonus.
Something else we expect is Patrick Mahomes and that offense being able to move the football. That's something they've done all season, even without Tyreek Hill. It's not been as smooth. They don't have as many chunk plays as they had with the Cheetah, but Mahomes has shown that, he doesn't need to chuck it 60 yards every play. He can dink and dunk with the best of them. Something people have asked or wanted to see from him, to see if he was able to do so. And I think he's kind of quieted his critics in that aspect. I really didn't have much of a thought that he would be worse. Like, their pass game's going to be a little bit less explosive, and it has been. I think that's been pretty evident. But I didn't foresee a precipitous drop-off for Patrick Mahomes in the offense as some did, especially in Broncos country. I know a lot of that was just hoping and wishing, as most fans would do, but unfortunately, that's not what happened. Nice job by the defense there, stiffening up, keeping the game tied. Bad punt by the Chiefs, give the Broncos decent field position. 22. See if they can back up the last touchdown drive with another. Oh, that's very, very, that's more like it. Chris Jones just absolutely manhandling, sent the Denver offensive line. I don't care where he lines up. He is the better player, no matter where on the line he matches up. Quinn Miners probably has the best chance against him, but Chris Jones and that defense, George Karlaftis, their pass rushers, they should feast just like that. And there you go. 3 and out for the Broncos. That sounds very familiar. Corliss Waitman punting. Another phrase that sounds very familiar.
Here's Hardman to return. Gets past one man.
Decent coverage. Not the greatest punt. Yet another phrase that is very, very familiar.
Taking the field for their second drive. And they, on paper, Charles, no doubt they have the edge in this one. They are sitting with the AFC elite, and on the other side, they're down toward the bottom of the AFC. But you know what they say, especially at this point in the season, watch out for a trap game.
And in doing so, I would take my game plan and condense it. I would rely on my fundamentals, the fact that my players are probably just better, and not try and do too much, do just enough to win the game.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
I'm doing everything.
I am happy to talk right now with anybody about anything and any team, even if you're not a Broncos or Chiefs fan. If you just want to talk football or sports in general, I'm here for it. Always make sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate that. It's free for you, but priceless for us. Oh, and there's Mahomes doing Mahomesian things with his wide receiver going up and jumping over 3 Broncos. Seems legit.
When they've needed a play this year, he's certainly been the guy to deliver it. As this season has gone on, he's been awfully consistent and sometimes spectacular.
The chain gang hustling to catch up. Here's 1st and goal from just inside the 10. To throw, it's Mahomes. And it's incomplete, broken up. But there is a flag down. Let's see what that's about. So they accept the penalty, of course, and push the offense backwards a bit. Nothing on 1st down, so the ball remains at the 8-yard line, 2nd and goal. Again, they'll throw with Mahomes. Over the middle, that's hauled in by Tony. The Chiefs now going to use
defense is trying to keep him out, but we'll see just how futile that ends up being.
What a stand this would be if they can get the stop here. 3rd and goal. Mahomes now to throw.
And the defense holds.
So they opted to pass for it on 3rd and goal. Let's see what they do on 4th and goal.
And the Broncos are the best red zone defense in the league. So that would be completely unbelievable, especially after how poorly the Chiefs played against the Bengals this past weekend.
With 3 points in this one-possession ball game.
And ideally, you want to end every drive with points. Most quarterbacks would tell you, let's end it with a kick, right? A PAT, that's number 1. Field goal, you'll take. Punts, you really don't want to do that. In this case, they'll take the field goal and get prepared for the rest of the game.
And, well,
make it to the 20.
Get the return back just to the 20, so
the Broncos going to go on offense
not quite where you'd like for a kickoff, but it is what it is.
Much time left, obviously. We'll see if they can march this down the field, at least get 3 and take some momentum into the locker room. Now Wilson on 1st down.
Russ and a flag. I'm guessing that is on the offense.
This might be a roughing call.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer.
So now a fresh set of downs. 1st and 10 after roughing the passer. Wilson. Got a man and he hits him in stride. Now the Broncos are going to call the first of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 37
just sharing some
seconds
things,
to
trying to see if we can't get a few
play.
more here in the chat.
Throwing again on 2nd down.
Right.
Wilson.
Oh, Judy out to the outside. Call that timeout. Well, they're trickling the ball down the field. Can they get their own field goal before the half? Keep this tied going into the second half.
Good plays have them on the move on 1st down. Now Wilson. This pass caught by Hamler. And all the way inside the 15 before they drop him. Now the offense
They digging deep on the roster.
Final timeout. And with halftime on the horizon,
Really thought I buried him enough, but I guess.
1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Again, Wilson. To the end zone,
Yeah, that looks familiar. His drives haven't looked familiar, but that looks familiar.
And his hit kept it exactly that.
Again on 2nd and 10, it's Wilson. And this
Yep,
one
that looks familiar.
Too far out in front. This offense was on the move. Now 2 straight incompletions have them looking at 3rd and 10. Out of the gun, here's Wilson. And this time he's got the hook up. It's complete. And out of bounds.
That took up too much time.
They're able to convert on 3rd down. That sets up a 1st and goal.
A field goal helps, but a touchdown gets you the lead. That had to be the message transmitted in the huddle. And they delivered there as that throw is going to keep the drive alive. And even better than that, set them up with a 1st and goal.
Just ran out of time. Not a bad drive, just ran out of
Kick by
time.
McManus is good. And that will do it for this 1st half. So we have reached halftime.
We are at halftime. 10-10 tie, looking good so far. I think Broncos country would have to be happy with this if this was the case.
Okay, Brandon, thanks very much. Welcome in, everyone.
After the way things have looked for most of the season, not just lately, but most of the season.
We'll start our tour out in the city of Angels, Los Angeles, where you see the final score there. Hunter Renfrow, over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown catch as well. From there, we head east to check on the Bills at home in Buffalo. And they were winners in their ball game as they were able to handle the visiting New York Jets. Josh Allen, terrific in the victory as his guys get to 10 wins and run their mark to 10-3. And then finally, we finish off.
I'll just let y'all have the halftime show.
It's the Patriots and Cardinals from Glendale. Time now for a check of the next-gen stats in that first half for KC. And there's not much to speak of in terms of passing efficiency. But in a tie game, they know a few tweaks could make a big difference going forward. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, they had a little more success than their counterparts did in the passing game, as evidenced by the numbers there.
Okay, Coach, adjustments likely going to play a big role in this third quarter in what's been a tight contest
All
so
right,
far.
here we go. Start the third. With a short kick by McManus that allows very good field position there for the Chiefs at the 31. Mahomes and company get a set-up shot with a shorter than normal field.
Certainly am. I'm with you on that one, and we all know a lot of coaches from the NFL all the way down to the Pee Wee League. They love to spin it to their teams.
Singleton, that man has been a revelation. Him and Jewell, I mean, just last week, they both had 17 tackles apiece, not combined. Alex Singleton and Josie Jewell had 17 tackles apiece in the loss to Baltimore. That's just an insane amount of tackles for one person to have, yet let alone two. And that's not even the most for Alex Singleton. The most he had, career high, season high, all that, was 22 earlier in the year. It was absolutely insane, while Josie Jewell was hurt. We didn't have to share tackles. And it's just, I love just the way they hit. Like, they don't just make the tackle, they make their presence felt. There's PS2 with the tackle on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I guess there you go. There's some evening out. There's going to be some differentiations, but this is going to be as close to reality as I can get with a Madden simulation. Oh, there's Jerick McKinnon with a nice run up the left side, all the way to the Denver 30. Once again, the biggest weakness on this Denver defense is their run defense. If there's anything that you could really nitpick on this defense, it's their lack of ability to stop the run no matter who it is. It's insane to think that they've only held two backs under 100 yards. And they are Elijah Mitchell of the San Francisco 49ers and Derek freaking Henry. Makes no sense. And there's Josie Jewell we were talking about. Baron Browning right there. Another revelation for this defense. It's a lot to like about this roster with the Broncos if they could just get healthy and stay healthy. But the biggest Achilles heel they've had over the last couple of seasons has been the fact that they just can't stay healthy. They have been the most injured team in the NFL the last 3 years running, and it's not even close. Like, even with the Baltimore Ravens and how bad they were injured last year, when you go cumulative over the last 3 years, there's no team that comes close to the, not just the amount of people or the amount of money, but the amount of starters that end up on the injured list and the injured reserve. It's been absolutely insane and mind-numbingly infuriating when it comes to the Denver Broncos and injuries. I don't know how you fix that, but that's something they have got to figure out, along with many other things this offseason. But I think their biggest area of concern outside of offensive line is just getting guys healthy and figuring out how to keep them healthy.
He ran right through that weak tackle attempt.
And there's Clyde Edwards-Helaire bringing it down. It's like inside the 10. Should be first and goal. Yep, 6-yard line. See if the Chiefs punch it in here. Mahomes running. He's got it opening. He's in.
Chiefs touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, a 6-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that looks about right.
The Chiefs have taken the lead as they go right down the field and score on the opening drive of the second half.
Well, I'd have to say that for him, that was an all-encompassing drive because it was his arm that got his team down to that point, but his legs that finished the deal. Give him credit for making it happen.
Butker on for the PAT. He's got it as they go up by a total of 17
they're up by 17-10.
So that one a pretty time-consuming 10-play drive.
Again, if this was the case, I think Broncos fans would have to be as happy as possible.
Here's Butker on to kick it away. Here comes Darius Phillips out of the end zone. And beyond the 20, but not by much. In fact, just a yard pass there to the 21. So now a look at the Broncos as they head back out there for their first possession of the second half. And this game was all square at halftime, but now they find themselves down 7 following the opening drive touchdown here in the third quarter.
And they need to take a good, relaxing, deep
breath. Russell Wilson and company can
right now they might start
answer.
To feel like they've got to play catch-up
play action
and start matching them
out to Edmonds.
But it's still
something you hope to see a whole lot more of, but unfortunately that was not in the designs because, again, one of those many injuries the Denver Broncos have sustained this season. When he was with the Broncos in the few games they got to see him, he looked like a nice little spark plug that could have added something to the offense, but he lasted a whole 2 weeks before he ended up injured.
Play action. It's Wilson. That's out to the flat for Edmonds. And he'll be out of bounds after getting this one across the 40.
And a nice gain and a broken tackle along the way, and really we shouldn't be surprised, should we? That's what runners do, especially the best ones. They break tackles and gain extra yardage.
2nd and 2.
Second and short.
From the shotgun, Wilson.
Oh, Wilson's got his man, another first down. There's Kendall Hinton. Kendall Hinton's been a bit of a revelation. I think he is the best slot wide receiver the Broncos have. I think if Peyton wanted to get a couple of extra draft picks, maybe like snatch up a second rounder to go with the first rounder he got for Chubb, I think he might be able to squeeze out a second rounder for somebody like Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. I know you'd hate to see those things. I mean, not so much for Sutton. That would be essentially getting what you gave up for him back, which was the second round pick. KJ Hamler, I think, could get him at least a third or a fourth. That'd be a little bit of a downgrade when he was a second round pick a few years ago. I hate to see him go. I love his speed. I love what he adds. But you also have a Jalen Virgil who's shown that juice. You know, Brandon Johnson's another guy. He's a bigger guy, but he's got a lot of speed, a lot of physical nature to him. There's quite a bit of depth there, and you'd hope that, again, Russell Wilson comes back better and is able to elevate those around him the way he did in Seattle. After he gets fully healthy, I really think it's been way too downplayed about how tough that man is and what he's been playing through with a torn muscle in his throwing shoulder, a hamstring, a groin. And that was almost an insane Madden play. Well, let's see if McManus could make the long 50-plus yarder. Oh, that was a line drive. 57. Yeah. Not so sure McManus has that much in him, but I think he got close in Baltimore. I think he hit a 53 or 54 yarder, but still.
Yeah, eventually they're going to need the touchdown. The thinking must have been they didn't feel confident about picking it up there, hoping maybe on defense.
As we saw at the end of the game against Baltimore, he fell a few yards short of a 63 yarder. So, man that's hit a 64 yarder before, it's obvious his range isn't what it once was. Well, Broncos were able to at least bring a little bit closer, 17-13, keeping it competitive. This is really all that anybody in Broncos country could ask, is for the Broncos to stay competitive. I think it's a good moral victory. You hate to do those, but I think it's the point. We're at that point of the season with the Broncos at 3-9 that, you know what, you got to take the moral victories when you can get them. And I think being competitive with the Chiefs, whether it's at home or not, I don't think that part matters. Just the fact that they stayed competitive with the Chiefs would be a boon to the morale in the locker room. And I think the fan base in general. Last thing you want is for your hated rival to go out there and hang a 40 or 50 burger on you the way that Dallas laid one. Oh, jeez. Who did they play? I just spaced who they played this week. It was the Vikings, wasn't it? They dropped a 50 burger on them. Colts, my bad, the Colts. Yeah, laid 54 on the Colts. Goodness gracious. Guys, I promise, as bad as it's been, it could always be worse. As hard as it is to defend the hiring of Nathaniel Hackett at this point, I wouldn't want to be the one trying to defend Jeff Saturday. Just saying.
So maybe they want to go to a zone blitz scheme, get a little bit more pressure. Remember when Carolina did that against Denver? They lost the game.
Travis Kelce, as you would expect.
He ended up with an interception in that game in Super Bowl 50. Maybe some sort of scheme like that to try and get more pressure at the passer.
On second down, a run with Edwards-Helaire. And the reinforcements come in as they're going to stop him behind the line. As big of a play as we've had in this one so far. This is 3rd and 3. Throwing now is Mahomes. Open man, Smith-Schuster, it's complete. And this is going to be another first down as they'll make the tackle.
Running them down the field again.
16. 17 yards.
Looking to put that final nail in the coffin. This gets to 2 scores. There's no way, even in Madden, that they can simulate the Broncos coming back from a 2-score deficit.
Fourth quarter, down to the final 2 minutes, and we've got a 1-score game. So the Chiefs in possession of the ball as we welcome you back. They've got a 1st and 10 as they look to try and finish this one off. Straight ahead they go with McKinnon. He will push his way down to about the 14. And now right out of the 2-minute break, we'll get a timeout used.
All right, well, sorry, I just saw that I had given up on this. Buccaneers came back tonight and won the game, and it actually came back and won my fantasy league for me. I still got a chance at the playoffs in my paid league now. I had a 30% chance of winning. Came back on them, and it's hilarious that the difference was I had Godwin, they had Evans, and Godwin got the better end of the stick. Holy cow. I can't believe I pulled that off. But anyways, back to this one. Edwards-Helaire getting blown up there.
Man, we've got an injured player, and that's Travis Kelce.
Chiefs about
who appears to be in a bit of discomfort.
To at least get another 3. That would be terrible for Chiefs fans, but I'm not sure many would lose any sleep if Travis Kelce got hurt against the Broncos, as evil as that may sound. At least you wouldn't have to worry about him getting stupid against him. But then, yep, that's about right. Rush defense failing in the fourth quarter. It's another phrase that's been absolutely annoyingly familiar.
Wasn't it trying to salt this game away? I think one of my kids just graduated in the amount of time they had the football. That was absolutely impressive.
Everybody wants those salt away the game drives. What makes them successful?
Well, when you're able to mix run pass, when you're able to control the football and stay ahead of the
with a minute 46 left, Chiefs up 24-13. That's a realistic score.
And that way you're able to run what you want to run when you get a chance to call it.
It's actually been quite more realistic than I expected.
From the 6. And not much happening on the return as he'll get this.
Nothing going on there.
23. So
right here, it's going to be fighting for pride. I mean, technically, there's always a chance they can go down 1-2 play drive, get a touchdown, kick the onside kick, recover, do it again. But we all know how realistic that is, whether it's Madden or real life.
Second and right at a yard. Now it's Wilson. He'll get this underneath to Edmonds.
Yeah, again, bad clock man. This is about as real as it gets. Bad clock management, bad play selection, crazy insanity, stupid throws. Yeah, that's all quite realistic. Chris Jones just got hurt. That's good for the Broncos offense, as he's been the one absolutely wrecking everything. And that indecisive Russell Wilson. That's pretty familiar.
They go play action now. Wilson. Quick hitter here, it's complete.
And then he backs that up with a nice play, then it'll be a bad play. And it's just the inconsistency of this offense that's infuriating. And again, it's not all Russell Wilson's fault. That offensive line is terrible. It is terrible. I can't say it enough. I'm sure I'm going to make people sick of hearing that the Broncos' offensive line is terrible, but that is just, frankly, what it is. Oh my, that almost ended up being a completed Hail Mary. Not sure why you don't just go for the, I mean, there wasn't much time, but I mean, you got to go at least go for the first down there. Give him another shot. Bring it a little closer, but that seems about right. Kansas City Chiefs win 24-13 in the Madden simulation for Week 13. I am Dan Wetstein, the founder and host of the Answers 42 Media Breaking Broncos podcast. As painful as it is to say, this is the most likely scenario and probably the best case scenario, outside of just a rash of injuries by the Chiefs. But the Broncos going out there, stinking it up, only scoring 13 points. Sounds about right. Chiefs only scoring 24 points. Probably the least unlikely of the scenarios that happen in this Madden simulation. But I'm going to stick by it. We'll go much more in depth on all of these things, and I'll give you a lot more insider, in-depth analysis when me and Dylan go live on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that is me and Dylan on the Breaking Broncos podcast on the Answers 42 Media Network. As always, I am here for all of you. We love you. We appreciate you. Again, we just hit 5,000 followers on Twitter. Would love to see some of you migrate over to these other platforms. Give us a little bit of love there. But hey, we are absolutely ecstatic we've made it to 5K on Twitter. Make sure y'all keep hitting them like buttons, subscribes. We appreciate every one of them. It's always free for you, but it is priceless for us. For the Answers 42, don't question the blue.